We interrupt our normal program. Normal broadcasting will now be discontinued for an indefinite period.
This station will continue to stay on the air throughout the alert period to bring you authentic information. Telephone service to your home may be cut off. If you can plug in your radio in the basement, take it with you. Use a portable radio set if you have one.
I have an HF field kit I've been working on, which includes a Shigu X6100, a Microsoft Go 3 tablet, which is running Windows 11, and a JPC 12 portable antenna. And my goal is to use JSA call in the field. And I'm going to end up filming part of this video at Peavine Mountain, which is located in Reno, Nevada. But this will be the second time I'm using this rig outside my ham shack. And my first attempt was while hiking to Lake Fuller in Verdi, Nevada. Unfortunately, I had some things working against me that day, and my attempt to operate my gear wasn't very successful. For one, I knew that there would be some scattered rain showers throughout the morning and into the afternoon, so I felt a bit rushed trying to hike to the lake and then get everything set up before the weather got too rough. I also ran into a gear malfunction, not only with my radio equipment, but also my video gear, and I ended up losing the audio for all the video I recorded, which sucked. But the weather today should be clear. I'll be able to take my time getting my gear set up, and it'll be an opportunity to evaluate what works and what doesn't. And then I'll come back to the ham shack and talk a little bit more about the kit, the software I'm using in conjunction with the JSA call. And for those of you who are interested in setting up something similar, maybe this will help give you some ideas. I'll also leave some links below to the gear that I have. And there's some items like my portable solar panel, which I believe is no longer available on Amazon, but I found one that's comparable, and I'll leave a link for that in the description below. You're looking at a shot from the top of Peavine Mountain. And I've got my radio gear set up. I have my X6100 running on JSA call, and it's connected to a Microsoft Go 3 tablet running Windows 11. And over here I've got a JPC 12 antenna connected to it. And so far I'm pretty happy with this portable antenna. It's been a pretty good one so far. But it's a really nice day up here, and here's another shot from the other side. All right, I made it back to the ham shack, and it got pretty windy up there, so I kept the recording time pretty short. I didn't want to have everyone struggle to listen to the wind whipping through the audio. Even though I had a windshield on the mic, it was still getting pretty bad up there. But I spent a couple hours up there, and it was pretty successful. Got everything running on JSA call, so I'm pretty happy about that. And so I just wanted to briefly walk through all the gear that I had in a little bit more detail. It's one thing to see it on a video, but I wanted to actually show you how I kind of had all this stuff put together. So to power the Go 3 tablet, I have this power bank. It's a 65 watt power bank, and it's really the only one that I have at the moment that is powerful enough to run the Go 3. That tablet actually uses quite a bit of power. And I had to go through several of these USB-C cables for the Go 3 tablet to find one that worked. This one apparently seems to work just fine with this power bank and the tablet. No issues keeping it charged, but I did come across a couple of other cables on Amazon, and they just, for whatever reason, didn't work. And so I'll leave a link to this one in the description below. And to power the X6100, I have this Revolt G2, and one of the issues that I ran into in my previous hike up to Fuller Lake that I had mentioned was that when I had JS8 call running, I attempted to send a message and it blew an error and told me that basically the error was that there was a problem with my audio. So first thing I did was I went through all of my JS8 call settings and rechecked everything, and everything seemed to be correct. And I just kept having issues with the audio. And so the next day I set everything up in my backyard, started testing again, and come to find out the issue that was causing the error in JS8 call was a power cable. And so I've cut it off, but there was an Anderson connector on the end of this that basically plugs into this battery bank. So that plugs into the battery bank, and then the little barrel connector here that plugs into the radio, and that's how I was charging it in the field. And so I set it up in the backyard, blew an error, started going through all my settings again. Again, everything in JS8 call seemed to be fine. And then when I started unplugging things next and trying to troubleshoot with the hardware, I figured out when I unplugged this from the battery bank and then tried to resend, I didn't have any issues. It didn't blow an error again. So I swapped out this cable with another one. That cable seems to work. I have no idea why this was causing that issue, but if you ever run into an issue where JS8 call is blowing in error and you've got your equipment plugged into an external power supply, check your cables and swap them out and see if maybe that's it. So that was a lesson learned. Another thing that I wanted to point out is this GPS dongle, and I'll leave a link for this as well. So this is what I'm using to keep time on my laptop in the absence of having the internet keep the time accurate for me. So, and there's some software that you can download with this, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But you'll definitely want a GPS dongle for the field so you can keep accurate time, because that's important when you're running JS8 call. Another thing that I like to bring with me, just an assortment of connectors, and I've also got some little electrical connectors so I could strip a wire and in a pinch just kind of splice some wires together if I need to. So I mentioned a solar panel. I don't believe they're selling these anymore on Amazon, but this is what it is, and it's got some connections. It's got a USB-A, USB-C, and a barrel connection on it, and basically I'm plugging that into this, and I've just got kind of an assortment of solar panel wires for that. And I've also got an assortment of Anderson cables and just some power management for those Anderson cables. I had another antenna that was a portable antenna, and the SWR was always very high on that particular one. And so I got this JPC-12. You can also find this on Amazon as well. Radio Oddity sells a very similar antenna for about $50 more on their website. I think they want like a couple $100 for it. And this one was about $145, $150. But so far, this has been a really great portable kit. And I've used it a few times in the backyard. And then, of course, I used it today for this video. But I've had a really good time using this antenna. It's been pretty easy to use, pretty easy to set up quickly, which is something that I've been wanting for a little while. But if you are in the market for an antenna, check this one out. Before I move on to talking about the software that I've got set up on the Go3 tablet, probably should just mention that this Rig Expert antenna analyzer has been a really great piece of equipment. It is a little bit expensive. It is definitely more expensive than this Nano VNA, which also really good piece of equipment, but I really do like this Rig Expert. It's very easy to use, and it's just really been helpful out in the field. All right, so last thing I want to go over is just the software that I'm using for the Go3 tablet. And of course, I've got JS8 call running, so this is the download page for that. So I'm going to leave a link to how to download that. And then BKT Time Sync is what I'm using to keep time for the Go3 tablet, and that is the that works obviously in conjunction with the GPS dongle that I just showed you. And so I'll leave a link to this download page as well. Next, this is the download page for FL Rig, which I'm using to interface between JS8 call and the radio. And I had previously done a video about upgrading the software on the X6100. I was still having a hard time getting JS8 call to operate the rig. And so I'm basically using FL Rig as my rig control. And so that seems to work just fine. That's really the only way I've been able to get it to work. So if you're having an issue getting, your rig control to work, consider downloading FL Rig. It's pretty easy to set up. Next is JS8 Spotter, and that's a companion software for JS8 call, and I use that quite a bit. It's pretty helpful. And that's pretty much it as far as the software that I'm using to run JS8 call in the field. And one last thing, if you end up purchasing the GPS dongle that I had mentioned, then you can download the driver from my website. I'll leave a link. When you purchase it from Amazon, it's a little bit confusing as to how to get the driver. So I tried to just make it a little bit easier on people and by just going to my website and downloading it. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.